Good afternoon and good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Very exciting to see you all. Joe, Gorma, Dreamlab. Hello, Dreamlab. Backdoor 3D Studios all the way from down under. And hopefully Rod, who is going to join us after the dentist, I guess. That's the idea. That's the plan anyway. So sorry to hear about your YouTube troubles, Steve. It's one of those things. Steve had a video removed, which is, uncool when that happens. And due to some technicality that wasn't even related to the video, it's just, we were just discussing this. I feel for you, man. It's just terrible when that happens. And I dislike it as well. It's kind of the world we live in, I suppose. So yeah, I hope this version of the video is going to remain because it was good. It's good knowledge in there, and I don't want to see that content gone. And I also don't want you to feel like you want to stop doing what you're doing, because I think it does make the world a better place, and that's what it's all about. I think, just my 2 cents, really. So I hope you're going to stick in there and don't let that technicality just, keep you from creating good content. Speaking of good content, I have a lot planned for this week. I'm seeing this whole 4-day streaming a week. I'm seeing that as a plan, and I want to tackle it. There's a lot I want to get done, and some of it is fun based. Some of it is a little bit housekeeping based. It's actually all technically fun based. That's what the streaming is all about for me. It's all about fun and sharing it with you. So one thing I want to share with you quickly before we get started is, in fact, the thing that I've just posted, which is this little guy here. Whoops. This is the dancing FBI agent, one of my latest videos, and I want to tell you a little bit about him. So he's just, dancing away, and I'll talk to you about why I've made that. So I've compiled what I've learned from the whole experiments that we had about exporting Cinti characters to Mixamo back into Blender, and then looping animations like that. And I made a video about that. I was thinking about cutting it from the stream, in which I've explained all that, but then I thought actually that's a bit long and windy and actually a lot of work to cut that down. So I just sat down for half an hour and made a new video about it, in which I'm showing how to, as an example, how to make this guy. And this is what came out. So I added him at the end of the video. The video, like the explanation of that's about 10 minutes long, and it's currently available for Patreon supporters. It's in early access, as they say. And it was so nice that I thought, hey, I'm going to give him a standalone feature, and this is it. So we can watch that again. So it's just a fun little thing. And because it was relatively quick and easy to do, I thought I'd like to do this in favor of the Polygon City scene that we've started doing there. I'd like to make maybe three or four people, maybe 5 people dancing at the same time in a group thing. And then I thought, hey, I'd like to also do that in a scene. So I'm thinking I'm doing that in the heist scene, the bank heist scene that I bought from the same pack, which he is part of, and he has several outfits, and he has the bank robbers, and he has colleagues that can be dancing with him, and there's 3 locations in the heist scene that I'd like to do that with. So 3 or 4 people dancing at the same time, and that involves adding these in-place Mixamo animations to these characters, tweaking the characters and just making them dance on a loop, and then just having a subtle camera move on the first group, rushing into the bank, having the second group rushing into the vault of the bank, and having the third group dance. And I want to do the whole process on camera, so including editing this with music and all that. So that's one plan that I have planned for these 4 days that we have today, and Thursday, Friday, and on Saturday. Those are the 4 days I'm streaming. So this is the plan. But that's just one of the plans that I've devised. So the others are indeed something I'd like to track on this Trello board here. I don't know if you're familiar with Trello. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Trello. It's kind of an organizational help that lets you put lists in place and put items on lists. And so there's some things that I'd like to do on the stream that make, that I had been talking about for a while, namely when I'm on the white shot here, that there's the space above my head. I'd like to maybe add someone like the dancing FBI agent as a mini version, and then just having 2 or 3 animations that just come in every so often. It's like, mouse dancing, FBI agent dancing, and so forth. So that's one thing I'd like to do. That's this thing here, animations middle right. That's one thing I'd like to do. Then the other thing is the very top above the supporters, there's just this supporters credits thing that's just like a small word supporters. I'd like to make that more prominent and perhaps have the word supporters just scroll through it. That shouldn't take long. I have the dimensions here actually. I've made a note of that earlier. And I should, while we're talking about this, just put that in the Trello board here as well. So the top one, is that the one? Supporters, exactly. So I'll just add that information. That is 188 by 120. So it's a really tiny video in its last form. And then I'm calling it animations middle right. That's not actually correct. I'm just going to call that, if that's the top right, and it's kind of the middle right, isn't it? I'll just call it bottom right, just because I can probably remember that better. And that is also 188 by 250. So that's a portrait type thing. Somehow got to make that happen. There, that's that. And then also remove the bad language filter that's in Streamlabs in the chatbot. That's not something that's working well for me. So perhaps we can make that, just start with that. And then I can just drag this over to something that is then implemented. That's how that works. You just create yourself a list and then you move it from one stage of the production process to another. And then this item can then be tracked into, you know, whatever you want to do with it. I've done this to it, I've done that to it. And it's kind of an organizational help. I'm hoping it's going to make me more productive. So there we go. That's the plan anyway. Minds.com. That's interesting, Gorma. Tell me more about Minds. I haven't heard of that either. I'm using Vimeo, and I do that literally for that reason, that I'm very well aware that anything could happen to whole channels at any given time. So I'm thinking that what were to happen if my whole channel gets deleted by whatever mechanism that is possible. And this is a great example of what Steve was telling about, that literally without any ill will, a video can't disappear. And if you don't have a backup of it, what are you going to do? If the video is 2 or 3 years old and it's gone, you think, it just goes to show that we can't really rely on cloud services to provide a service forever. So I also on the side of caution to have a backup of everything I have somewhere else. Could be a hard drive, could be a NAS, could be another independent cloud service. That's one of those things. Interesting. Minds.com. That's very interesting. Let's take a quick look. I like it. Minds.com, is it? That's just interesting. Take back control of your social media. Ooh, all right. A place to have open conversations and bring people together. Free your mind and get paid for creating content, driving traffic, and referring friends. As featured in. Thank you for the hint in the right direction there. That's very nice. Totally going to have a look at that. Just in case. That's good. Exactly, Steve. That is very good. That is a very good idea. If you're interested in Trello, you can go via, speaking of links and all that, you can go via my Trello gold link or recommendation link. I don't get money for this, but it will give me, and I believe you, a month free of gold, which is something, I don't know, comes with more features or something. If you need Trello, sign up here. It's free to use, so there's not anything that costs you money. I mean, you can pay them money, but you don't have to. I don't pay them money, but I thought maybe it'll help me get organized. So like this first item on the list here, remove the bad language filter. Perhaps we're going to do that right away, and then it's one item off the list. And as I see other things that come together, we can add them to the list. Perhaps it's going to be easy for me to then keep on top of things. Like that animation that we're going to build, perhaps I'm going to create a couple of other lists, maybe even a whole new board for that. We'll see. So the issue is, just to briefly talk about this, when somebody that's new, that's not a regular viewer, comes in and said, hey, those are great assets you're using, his whole chat history gets deleted because the word assets contains ass, and that's on some kind of blacklist in the cloud bot that I can't look at. And then, you know, that's just crazy. So that is what I'm going to do immediately. So that is, I believe, under the cloud bot, under mod tools, and that's word protection here. Oh, let me also enable this pointer focus so that you can see where I'm hovering my cursor over. So word protection, it's enabled. You know, that's right, that's what I thought. There should be a whitelist. Help me find it, Dreamlab, because I don't know where it is. So I know that there's a blacklist, and this is stuff that I can add to it. So if I would want the word assets blacklisted, I can add it here. But in general, I think they use the default blacklist. So that's the only thing I can do. I can use the default blacklist, but I don't know what's on it. So that's a bit of a weird one. But I don't find a whitelist option here. Hello, Chris, how you doing? I'm just dealing with that Streamlabs chatbot here. We're trying to find a whitelist. Well, that doesn't really, don't think it exists. Just as a, while we're on this subject here, I can launch the standalone chatbot. We can see if that has a whitelist. I believe it has. It has more features than the cloud bot, but I do forget to launch the standalone bot quite frequently, and it's also less overhead at my end if I don't use that. Chris, I've missed your stream yesterday. It sounded interesting. I've seen the emotes. Very cool stuff. I'm glad you got something done there. Very nice. So let's see. That was in mod tools as well here, I guess. As caps protection, link protection. So the functions are kind of the same. There's word protection. And that only has add to bad words. It doesn't even have a default blacklist, so it doesn't seem to have a whitelist therefore either. It only has a default blacklist. So I don't know if I can, I'm not logged in, I'm just going to go and put that in there. I don't know if I can add a whitelist, but I can certainly switch off the default, the default blacklist, and therefore create my own blacklist essentially. So I go save that. Now at least people can't come in and you know get banned for using the word assets. So currently you should be able to post literally anything. We can come up with a few phrases, I guess, that we don't want. Purge, timeout, and ban. Look at that. That's very cool. You can totally time out a user if he uses bad things. That's a good idea. Time him out for 30 seconds, cools him down. Or should we purge? What do you think? Ban, I think, is a little bit too strong. But timing out might be better than purging things. I don't know if purging is a good idea. If it's a legitimate user, you know. Let's put people on a 10-second timeout. Add a word or phrase to blacklist. So there's the obvious. Let's not have people use that. I don't know if I also need to use like capital versions of that, or if this thing is clever enough to detect that. Perhaps actually, you know, before I put all kinds of bad words on the screen, perhaps we're going to go and use a dummy word to figure this out. What do you think? Ah, really? Let's have a look. Thank you, Steve. Punishment logic. Okay, good. Right. But it doesn't mention a whitelist, does it? No. Yeah, no whitelist mentioned there either. But that's, you know, thank you so much for the article. That's nice. So just to let's use the word twist. I'll go and type it in small letters, and that's added now. That's good. Somebody I see who's not a regular viewer. That is the other thing that I need to do. So I'm going to go and switch it off. Auto permit nobody, just so that this is. There is a whitelist session, really, really. But where? I don't see it, Steve. Maybe I just don't see it. That does happen sometimes. What's a twist? Okay, so that's interesting. Thank you, Brian. That's good to know. So, and you used that's good. Okay, so that gives us a little hint of how. Why was Gorma reprimanded and Brian was not? Was that just because it took a while for the stream thing to kick in? Right. Yeah, I've switched that off. There we go. Now Brian's also got it. That's cool. Good. So what we want to try out is what happens if you spell twist with a capital T. Yeah, that's a good one. So that works. Try using twist with a capital T, see what happens. Thank you for testing this with me. I appreciate that. I see. So twist with a capital T also works. Right. I wonder if we should just do away with the whole word protection thing, because like Gorma just demonstrated very well, you can find ways around it, and I'm not going to find out every iteration with every spacage for every swear word there is on the planet. I think maybe we'll just go and just not worry about it. What do you think? Whitelist URLs, right? Yeah. There is this thing, link protection. I didn't put that in, so currently everyone can add links, and I might just leave it like that until it becomes a problem. Yeah, exactly, that's what I mean, precisely. So perhaps we either use the default blacklist, and then I'll exempt regulars and subscribers just like before, but or we just do away with it altogether. What do you think? Is this time for a poll, maybe? Let's do a poll. What shall we do about the blacklist? It's poll time. I'll say forget about it, and I'll just call that number 1, or I'll say use default blacklist, and I'll call that option 2. I'll add that, and I say done, and then I go and start the poll. All right. So number 1 is let's forget about it and not use the blacklist at all. And number 2 is let's use the default blacklist and do it like we did before with the regulars and the subscribers get free access, can do whatever they want, but newcomers, they will be reprimanded when they use the word assets. Oh, you have to put exclamation mark to Joe to vote for that. Yeah, so I will vote as well. I think I can. Can I vote as me? Let's try. Let's try, shall we? I'm on the fence. I don't actually know what to do, so I can't really vote. We can leave it going in the background and go, oh, look at that. Look, forget about it is number 1. That's interesting. Oh, is that how you have to do it? You have to say exclamation mark vote, exclamation mark the number. Oh my God, that's crazy. Well, now I know. Next time I can just go and use the options 1 and 2. 50-50, Right, see, I didn't know that either, Dreamlab. Interesting. Brian, very funny. I'm so glad your Honda S2000 is over the what we call the MOT 1 more year. That's really good to know. I remember driving that car once. in a computer game, mind you. I don't drive in real life, but in a computer game I did drive it, and it was a good car, I must say. I think I had like a brown colored one with reflections in the color. It was very cool. I see. Forget about it. I like it. Thank you for all your input. Interesting, huh? I think I might just go and do that. Forget about it. Word protection. Because if somebody were to start using these things excessively, we'll just go ban him. And then other than that, it's kind of freedom of speech type thing, I'm thinking. Same with links. I'm going to leave the links protection just as it is. So anyone can post links, but do ask for permission, of course, beforehand. If it's a spammer, we'll go ban him. I mean, that's how easy it is. Let's just assume people are good people and there is freedom of speech, and then we take it from there. I like the sound of that. Great. In that case, let's go and how do I close the poll? There we go. Indeed. And I'll say complete. And I guess now, forget about it, was most voted option of the poll with 75% of the votes. Very nice. Thank you so much. Speaking of polls, there's one other thing I wanted to just thank you all for who have participated in this. And that is on my YouTube community tab. I can also post votes or polls rather every so often. And I did that recently because my YouTube URL is there's a comment from Marco. Thank you so much, Marco, for bringing this to my attention. My idea was to tentatively change the URL of my YouTube channel from youtube.com/thewpguru to youtube.com/wpguru, just like it is on Twitch and many other kind of places that I use. So my website, for example, is just wpguru.tv. It's not the wpguru.tv. Not that I actually like that branding at all. I mean, I like the brand. The title doesn't mean anything. So I was thinking of dropping the. And it looks like 48% don't care. 14% say, "Oh my God, that's a bad idea." 38% were in favor of it. So this is thank you so much for the outcome of that vote. I really appreciate that. So I think I'll just leave everything as it is because it just makes my life a bit easier as well. It's just 3 letters less to type in should you want to type in my YouTube URL. One of those things. Okay. But 29 votes. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for everyone who's chipped in there. So I guess then back to the Trello board, we can remove the bad language filter. And have I just shown you all this in the zoomed in version? You didn't even see that, did you? Did you? Man, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, see, I was going to show you this because that's really the thing I wanted to show you. The 48% say it doesn't matter. 38% say it's a great idea. 14% say heavens no. There we go. So I guess we can take this thing off the planned features list and say we have implemented it. Put that over here. Boom. All right. Let's do animations at the bottom right first, and then we'll tackle this, and then we'll tackle the bank scene and build that little animation. All the while hanging out and talking about exciting and merry things, I say. So perhaps animations at the bottom right. We'll do one because I have one ready, I believe, in Blender. Might close my standalone cloud bot because I don't need it anymore. And we'll use Blender 2.82 for this. In that case, it wouldn't be USA, it would be TUSA, wouldn't it? Or TUSA. Which is exciting. FBI dancer, I still have him on here. I might just use this file. This is exactly what I used for that video I've shown you in the beginning. And then I could use the preview here that drops down the frame rate a little bit. So I might just use the gray version So the most important thing here is, first of all, it loops. So I use the whole animation from Mixamo. And we will go through this process several times of how to make something like that happen. So this is just the scene I had, and this is the one that I built in the demo. So I'll leave it at this duration so that it's loopable. And then I'm going to go Team America. Yes, exactly. World Police. And I'll just go and change the rendering resolutions to whatever I said I needed on the Trello board, which was 188 by 250. That's not a lot. It's 188 by 250. And then, of course, I need to not do that and do that first. And then I go and say, do that. See how well he stays in the frame if I do that. Yeah, I suppose I don't want him to go out, and considering it is a really tiny space, I might just zoom out a little bit. I'll do that with the control button and holding down the middle mouse button. I don't mind his hands popping out every so often, that's okay. Or I could just go even tighter on him. That is also an option. I can just do this. But then he's outside the frame of vision quite often, so I don't know if that's awesome or not. It might just work better if he's in the frame at all times. I can adjust the camera as well. I can't keyframe that. I might actually do that and just go follow him, that he's in the frame most of the time. Like when it goes to here, I might just go and move the camera over so that he's shown like there, and then I'll move it back so that he's over here. Maybe even zoom out a little bit at the end. That's possible, so that his hands aren't cutting off. I might do that. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. I'll talk a little bit more about Trello. It's really interesting because it seems to be a bit of a minefield when you get started, because it's just very open. It lets you do whatever you want, and it's kind of understanding on what works best in regards to how to use the tools that are at your disposal. So a traditional to-do list, while I'm just doing a bit of keyframing here with the camera. A traditional to-do list works by you literally just having a list of items. And then on good to-do lists, you can then say the list, this item is done or not done. But in reality, it's actually the case that we often have more than one state. Something isn't just done or not. There's other things in between. So there's things like, this is half done, for better or worse, or this needs 11 things done, and the first of these 11 things is done now. But how do you track that, and how do you make notes of that? And that's where Trello comes in. So some tasks, for better or worse word, have 5 states, others have 11. And let's just say in an animation. In fact, let's just go through it and go and plan this little animation on a brand new board, perhaps. So I can go to boards. I believe I can go home actually, and then it shows me all the boards I have. I think the free version, you get 10 boards, and I'll just go and make a new board. I believe over here with the plus icon, create board, if I'm allowed to make another board. You have used 7 of your 10 free boards. Okay, cool. Let's pick a blue one here. And didn't I want to make a board? I think I have to give it a title. Let's give it a title. So I'll call it FBI agent animation. And then I'll give it a color maybe. And then I'll go create board. Perfect. So now we have a brand new board, and it only has one little list item at the top, and that's not a lot. This is just a list. I can have several lists going from left to right, and each list can have items. So Rod is here. Hey Rod, how you doing? Good to see you. We're just talking about Trello and how to get organized with projects. We need to come up with funky names of our list. I'll go get started by just calling this list 1 because it's boring. I'll call this list 2. And then I'll maybe call this list 3. And that doesn't mean anything just yet. I can create as many lists as I want, but I only need 3 for my project. I can go and move them around if I wanted that before that, or that after that, or that in between there, or I can add another one, it doesn't matter. And each list can now have items. So I can say item 1, and then I can say item 2. And on this list, I could have another item. But each of these are now objects. So you can go and click into them and flesh these things out with a description and an activity as what you or a team member has performed on this item. So that's kind of clever. So this is what I want to do on this thing. Could be the description. And then, you can put in the activity, I'm procrastinating. Is that how you spell it? No, not at all. There. About it. Or you can say then, the next thing is I've sent out that email to a colleague for approval. And then that's really everything that you could have done on that item. And so forth. So this is how that works. But if that item is now moved to another part of the project, you can just go drag it over there. And when it's done with that, and you've added some more comments, or your team members have added comments on here, you can then go and add it to yet another list. So in regards to video editing, you can have video editing ideas. You've got something that is then shot, and then you've got something that's in editing, and then it's something that is kind of approved but needs a thumbnail. And once it has a thumbnail, it can then go into early access, and then it could go from early access into live on YouTube. That sort of thing. So that's a way you can track a single video. And so each item on the list is then a video in this case. So like in this case, if we just rename these things to something more meaningful, I'd say for our animation, we've essentially done the Mixamo animations. Let's say it includes doing things in back and before Blender that we have to extract assets, put them into Mixamo, take the animation out, prepare the character and all that. And let's say we've done that. And this is now our FBI agent. And he would have progressed from the animation stage to the Blender stage. Animate in Blender. And then we can say this one could be render in Blender. And then another list could be edit in Premiere. And then this one could be upload to YouTube, for example. And then this is how we can track the little guy. So imagine you've now done the animation, and then you go and you've then rendered that, which maybe takes 2 days or whatever. And then once you're done, you can go and edit this in Premiere, and then you can drag him over and do that to YouTube. And that's easy if you only have one thing that you're tracking. But if you had 7 projects that need the same thing, then this is a good way to track this. Just a quick thoughts on this. I guess our project is so small that we don't need it, but our larger animation project, we may want to employ this. That we track each individual character. Say we're animating 15 characters, we may want to track which character is on which stage in the board, and the board can evolve with it. So let's do that. All right. Like a traditional dope sheet? No, that's not what you mean, right? I'm going to go through and see where he's about to pop out. Like here, he's about to pop out there from here to there. So I'm going to go and put a keyframe here that starts centering him on this. I probably won't need the rotation. I will just go and keyframe it with it. I've got the camera selected. So he's doing this. He's now outside. So we're going to keep that frame until he's back here. So about here, I'll put a keyframe. And here, I'm going to have him keyframed again. And this is because he's going to change from, so all this in between, that's going to change. And here he has his position again. And I think I'm going to do something similar here, where he's doing this and he's kind of about to go out the frame here. So I'll go and keyframe him here and here, because he's probably going to need that. And then here he's kind of back in frame, in vision. So these are then the transitional bits. Now we need one more, namely here. So this is the transition from here to that state, and this and that state is going to stay the same. So I'll go and frame him up about here to the new frame. I might even just go and just move him over like this. That might look exciting. So I'll go I here. And this is kind of the same thing. I'll go and keep him in vision here, I there. And this is then going to move back here. This I might actually go and just zoom him up somewhat like this, because that might be fun. And I might do the same thing. Whoops! I might do the same thing here. And then he loops. So there's this bit here where he's just going out of vision. So I might just go and make this a little bit. Just move him here. Let's see what this looks like. So it's important for me that he loops, that he can stay in the same position. I might intercut this slightly boring bit to go in again. He's going out of frame there a little bit too much, I find. Other than that, I do like the zooming in thing. I can switch the keyframes out from doing the simple pan. I can do that. I can make it to a discrete one. I think that just goes and switches between two camera positions. That's also possible. I might do that on this bit here. Yeah, so this is one where he just goes out of frame a little bit too much, but that's okay. I think I might just go and add an additional keyframe here. I don't think anyone's going to notice. I may have to do the same again, or just make sure that he's not quite as zoomed in. I'm always keeping in mind that he will be, yeah, like this, he's going out of frame a bit too much here, so I'll go and make sure he's just more visible here. Yeah, so the beginning is okay, so then everything's got an influence over the other, so as a kind of a first version, it's okay. I think I'm going to leave it like that. There's just this front bit here where he's turning his back. I think I'd like to go and have a close-up on his back here. So I'll go keyframe that. And then keyframe this as well. And I'll see if I can go and cut cameras there. So I want to be close up on him like that. Just for that duration here. And that I don't want to happen. I also don't want this to happen here. I want that to be like a complete discrete switch, but we'll do that in a second. I suppose the other thing that I hadn't thought about is that I need to get rid of this keyframe here and just duplicate that, Shift D, and just move that over here because I'd like for that to stay static. So now I think I've never done this before, but if I go keyframe type, interpolation mode, constant, was that what I'm looking for? I think it's constant. No, it's not constant. What am I talking about? It's not constant. It's the like instant. What is it? No, it is constant, isn't it? I thought it is constant what I'm looking for. Yeah, I forgot now. I thought there's a way to switch cameras literally from one position to the other immediately. I could do it with 2 keyframes so that I basically go and say, I take a copy of this keyframe of the preceding keyframe and just drag that over one keyframe in front of this one. I could do that. I might actually do that. D, move that literally here. So then it happens over one frame. Yeah, I could do that and it stays there. And then it does this course. So I'll do and duplicate that. Let's put that literally one frame over here. So then we have a cut. Okay, we'll do it that way. Yeah, I suppose there's something. It should have kind of worked, and maybe I'll just leave it with the 2 keyframes. That's easiest thing to do. Something to play with though. I'm intrigued by that. I think Carrara does a good job at that, and it's all about knowing how to actually do it. Now, of course, that I've seen it, I'd like to see more of it with these frames. So perhaps we could do the same thing here because that's kind of a longish scene. We could just go and cut close to his face here. Let's do that. I and I for a few frames until he goes and jumps. I and I, and then on this keyframe we're going into him, having a little FBI agent portrait there. So once again, duplicate that keyframe, move it all the way up to here, literally one frame in front of that. Then that leaves that shot untouched, and boom. Same thing over here. This is meant to be that. And we'll duplicate this to here. Do we? No, that's not what we do. We duplicate this, don't we? Duh. Oh, that's how easily I get confused. Duplicate that, put it over to here, there. Cut, close, jump, cut back, perfect. Whew. That cut was almost too short. I'd like to see him a little bit longer there. And there. Yeah, so we'll see if we can make those a little bit longer. Those here. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so I'll move this keyframe over here, and then I'll go move that. Oh, what did I do there? Yeah, so this keyframe over here. So I can then move this. What did I do? Oh yeah, it is this one, isn't it? Oh, no, 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 no. What's happened here? Why are you duplicating keyframes, Blender? That's not what I'm asking you to do. It's because I'm not zoomed in enough. That's why. So this works well. It's just not long enough. So to make ourselves some room, I'll cut back to him later, like when he's just about to turn, like here. I'm going to cut back later. So I will go and bring these two keyframes over here. So we see that he's an FBI agent. That's cool. Now we cut back, and then we already start the transitional move, I guess. But that's now somehow affected. So, yeah, so that needs to be here then. So this transitional move can then go a little bit smoother, like so. Good, good. Okay. Whew. Exactly, that's kind of good about this thing, isn't it? You don't have to then do it all in the edit. It's just, you can just go and do that all during the render. So it's, if the render is fairly fast, it doesn't seem to matter that much. But if it takes a while, then you don't want to render frames that you're not gonna use later. So like this, I think I can go and cut to him earlier. So I'll move that over here. That should work still. Crash zoom out, and then this is where I want to be on him. I just move that over here. And then we cut back. Okay, let's see what that looks like. That's much nicer. I like that longer animation there. That didn't work so well. So I suppose we're doing a bit too much camera repositioning there. This is all fine. I like all this. This was a bit fast, and we're cutting back to him too fast. So yeah, let's see what's happened there. We have this and that. So it's almost like we can stay close on him here. Yeah, perhaps we don't need that second cut onto him, because we were already close here, and then we can just go and let him dance. Maybe I'll just go get rid of these. And that. Oh, that's an idea. That's an idea. So if we go from here, we have the slow zoom in here. We can stay on him. And this can be, that's a great idea. Thank you, Dreamlab. That's a very good idea. Yes, and I think I'd like for that to happen when he's on the side. That's a really good idea. Let's do that. So we'll postpone that to here. And then we go and make sure this guy is just one frame before that, so that he's in here. We can even change that position a little bit if he's going out of vision too much. Or maybe yeah, change it back here. That's an idea. Let's go change that back here before he goes out, and just go a hard cut here. Thank you for the tip. That's a very nice idea. So then we have a bit of camera movement, but we also have camera cutting in between there, like so. And since this is now the defined close-up, I can even go zoom in closer to him. That worked pretty well, didn't it? Let's go and save him as FBI dancer. Come on, Blender. That's not fair. FBI dancer 1 there. Is this really where he lives? Just in random blend files? Oh yeah, FBI dancer. Okay, I'll leave him in here. So how long does a... So you're saying that, like, for the assets thing, Steve, right? Just stay with that example. If I still don't understand how that would work, Steve. If we take assets as an example, what do I need to put into the blacklist for assets not to get flagged? Is that it? I don't know. I find it's not very intuitive, I must say. Let's see how long one frame would take to render. Oh, not very long at all. Less than 1 second. That is very nice. So the whole sequence would take about 2 minutes to render. That's nice. And I guess I also, do I want that to be transparent? I think I might, because then he looks like he's hovering in the air. Or what do you think? Or shall I render him with the background? If I do it with transparency, let's just have a look what that would look like. If I can find it. I can never find it. Was it under here? It's under film, transparent. I think that's it. Yeah, there we go. If I do it with transparency, then only the floor would be rendered, but the rest of him would not be. Or I could also not render the floor. So if I don't do that, then he's completely transparent. Oh no. Oh yeah, because that's the... Yes. There. There. That's now not rendering the floor. No, it is. Man. Why? Told you not to render it. He said, oh no, this is render. This is viewport. Man. There. This is completely transparent. That takes even less time. Very nice. So this is what he would look like, just free-flowing in there. When life gets too complicated, doesn't it? Well, nicely done. What do you think? What's your feeling? Shall I render this guy with transparency and just see what that looks like? It'll take literally less than 2 minutes to render, I guess. So we can make it happen. I don't think it might not actually matter because it's a very dark part of the background there anyway. Let's do it with transparency. Let's do that. Yeah, with transparency. Cool. Let's do that. Let's go and I'm just trying to, in my head, I'm trying to, I'll go and do that on my desktop here, FBI animation. And in FBI animation, raw will do fine. Raw will do fine. I'll just actually call that FBI version 2, because that is version 2. And we're not going to use we're not going to use AVI, we're going to use PNG. And while it's doing that, I'm trying to think of a way to, with alpha, that's also important with alpha, I'm trying to think of a way to turn this into something that OBS can display with transparency. So while I kick this off, I'll tell you my thinking behind it. Render animation, boom. There we go. He gets rendering. It's almost real time. Look at that. That's very cool. That's Eevee for you. Very nice. So here's my thinking about this. I can do one of two things. I can either generate a video file that OBS can play back on a loop, or I can generate an animated GIF. Either will be fine. Either will work. But at the same time, I'm not entirely sure if I can create an animated GIF sequence with transparency. I don't know how Photoshop can handle that. It's worth a try. Let's figure it out. And then at the same time, I used to be able to render animated sequences with an alpha channel when Apple still supported QuickTime for Windows. So nowadays, I don't think they do that anymore. So I have an old version of Premiere in which I could say export to QuickTime with an alpha channel. That would work. But on Windows, the option, or the whole option, neither on Mac or Windows, isn't there anymore since CS6. I think CS6 was the last version that supported that. So I don't know what to do with today's tools. Hello, Christina. How are you? This is actually nice that you're here, Christina and Rod. Let me just go and, while this guy is rendering here in the top right corner for another 600 frames or so, I will show you this little animation that I've showed everyone else in the beginning. This is what this is inspired by. This is the FBI dancer animation that I recently uploaded as part of a tutorial I've made. So he was literally just a byproduct of that. And I liked him so much that I thought I'll give him a separate standalone feature. It's just this looping animation, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and I thought maybe he's a good candidate to be permanently dancing above my head in the stream setup here in that layout. So it's just a lot of fun. And it really makes me happy seeing this guy dance. I don't know why, it just makes me very happy. It is Dancing Molder. Yes, that's him, exactly. So there we go. Dancing FBI agent. So I was thinking to make a Blender-based animation that features not only him, but also other characters from the Sinti characters. And I will do that in the bank heist scene, I was thinking. That's the big plan. I'm trying to make that happen. Look at that, that was it. That's him rendered and ready. So yes, I'll try and get a start on that today. At least put the bits and pieces in place. And this guy is going to be literally above my head in this setup here. Maybe he's going to be joined with other characters that can just occasionally be dancing in there. And I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this. Either render him as an animated GIF, or render him out as a video with transparency. So Photoshop knows the transparency. That's perfect. So he's going to do a great job here. But how can I? Is that possible as export as? And let's try and do it as a GIF. That's just a still image, isn't it? So it needs to be export render to video then. Let's see if we can pick GIF on output. So definitely that. Because I don't see any alpha channel considerations. You know, that might also be a possibility that GIF doesn't actually support transparency. I thought it did if you set it specifically, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's check it out with a single image here, because I do have another option of doing that. If we were to say GIF, and there's only really GIF, isn't there? Yeah, there's really nothing else. I can't select transparency here, even though it looks like it does have transparency in it. Let's see what happens. This guy, FBI test, if we go and open him again, does it have transparency? Yes. So it has transparency in there still. That's cool. But it's not an animated GIF file. So GIF seems to support transparency. What a ding. I can't unlock that layer. Terrible, Photoshop. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Excellent. Thank you guys for letting me know. So that leaves us with the question. So that actually leaves us only with one option then. I have to turn this guy into a video file. But, and this is the uncool thing now, if I go to the Photoshop options here, I don't think, do I have anything? Does QuickTime have a transparency option? Not anymore. That's the issue. DPX, that's a great idea. Let's do that. 5 gigabytes, maximum depth. Also not exactly what we want. So I can't do it on my Mac with the old version of Premiere. I can literally export this as a QuickTime file with alpha channel. But the new version of Premiere, let's just see what it has to offer, shall we? Do you know, that might be Dreamlab, absolutely. Such a minefield, isn't it? Yeah, so the lower animated third titles, they are the ones that I sometimes bring up with my name and the WP Guru logo. Those are all animated brain, hello, what's the word? QuickTime files with alpha channel. I'll call him FBI animation. And then I'll go and create a new bin. I'll call that stills. And in here, I'll go and import all the FBI animation stills. Oh, it also allows me to do this as an image sequence. Is it really? I didn't know that. Oh, that's exciting. And that's a sequence. Seriously, dude, that makes my life so much easier. New sequence from clip. Let's do it. Oh, wow, Premiere. I am so impressed. That is very cool. So this sequence has already got the dimensions that I want, and hopefully also supports transparency. Let's just give it a just a quick test really. So I'll go and make a new item, which is something like a color matte. And I'll call that one, I'll just pick, I don't know, something just white, just so that I know that it's something. And I'll put that underneath my friend, the FBI agent, once I've given it the correct speed of, let's just say, more than 1 frame. So that's like 1 second, maybe that should do the trick. Yes, look at that, that's perfect. So this thing definitely has transparency, so I like that. That's perfect. So let's go get rid of that again, put that here. And now we'll give it a name first of all as well. So let's FBI stream animation. And now we'll see what media transcoder can do with that. Yes, it'll be fine, because he'll basically just put them out of frame. So it'll be, do you see that black square directly above my head? That's where he's going to do it. So he'll just basically be out of frame. I think it'll work. He says, scrapping the idea as soon as he sees it in action. So is there any preset that has an alpha channel? I don't even know if H.264 supports alpha channels, so we may have to use a different format to begin with, different container altogether. So let's try QuickTime. Apple ProRes 4444 with alpha. That might be a bit overkill. There are several that export alpha channels. That's actually quite nice. Perhaps Cineform with alpha at maximum bit depth. Is there something smaller with alpha channel? We certainly don't need audio. I don't want this to be like a 2 GB file, you know, that's just way too much to handle. Render alpha channel only, I say. Is it really 18 seconds? It must be. I mean, that's long, man. That's long stuff. I'm also thinking that it's perhaps 1 frame long. I don't want that black frame there. I want this to be seamlessly looping. So actually, before I start doing that, just going to make this thing 1 frame shorter than it needs to be. Or is this always the preview here? It could always just be the preview. Yeah, I suppose it shows me the next frame thing. Well, let's just go and try it out with those settings that I've discovered there. Cineform with alpha. See if OBS plays it back. That'd be quite nice. I'll go and put that on the desktop just for now and export. That's good. That was fast. That's what I kind of had expected. Here it is. And I think the regular Windows tool won't be able to play that back, but that'll be fine. So excuse my double loop thing going on here. That's, you know, it's just going to be part of it. This is my whole setup here in OBS. I'll see if I can put that thing right in here. So we're using a media source. And I'll call him FBI dancer. I want this to be a loop. I want the playback restart when the source becomes active. No, actually I don't. That's fine with me. But it is a local file. I want this to be on loop. Show nothing when playback ends. Playback should never end. So I'll go and undo that. See if OBS can play it back. FBI, oh, that's the GIF file. This is it, stream animations. It might be that OBS says, hey, I can't play this thing at all. No, he can. Oh my God, look at that. That's the spirit. There he is. Woo! So now if we go back to something meaningful like that, look at him dance. That is very cool. Look at this. That is very nice. So just from... Whoa, this is exciting. Thank you so much, whatever format I've just chosen for that now. Just for my own satisfaction, it was the GoPro Cineform RGB 12-bit with alpha. Whoa. And the other thing I wanted to find out is how big is this file? I mean, what's the overhead that this puts onto my computer? Survey says 50 meg. So that's relatively big, but it's also not breaking the bank, as they say. So that's not bad. Now that's an idea, Dreamlab. That's a great idea. Oh my God, that's an awesome idea, actually. Just put these guys up for sale. Make 50 of them and just say one is $10. Buy the whole package for $100. That's an awesome idea. That is a really, really good idea. And can you imagine? I mean, this is if it is as easy as I think to bring other characters into and out of Mixamo and just create these things. 2D assets you're allowed to sell. So it's usually the 3D assets that you're not allowed to redistribute. But we're not doing that. We're just distributing 2D animations with that. Whoa! Oh, we can't even see him anymore. There we go. Let's bring him back. That is seriously cool. I like it. And so then my idea was to have more than one person in there. So this sequence could go bigger and bigger and just have pauses in there as well and just have, all kinds of things happening. So yes, nice. I have a few other dance animations that I can... Yeah, exactly. Dreamlab. That's a great idea. I like it. How shall we do it? Shall we just go and sell these things on a website, or shall we go and do it through Patreon? I find maybe this warrants a whole new project, like a whole new kind of, where would you think we could sell that? Do you think specific website, or do you think something existing? Gumroad springs to mind. Could do that. Don't know if Renderosity is a good marketplace for that. We'll think about it. We'll think this through. I just like the guy dancing there. That's really cool. It just looks so exciting, doesn't it? And I also like the camera cut, so that there's not just a static shot of the guy, which would also work. I'm just thinking the static shot would be fine already, but this whole camera movement with the, Indeed, stream customization services, that would fall under that. Especially if people then have something like an avatar that we can put on this guy. Amazing! New business is born already. That way there's always something to watch. I don't know if you can sell something through Streamlabs, but anything is possible, so who knows? I wonder then, rather than get started with the next animation project where these guys are dancing, we could also just go quickly do the same thing for the top right corner of the supporters credit. That should be an even faster job, and then we can just go and finish this whole thing off. What do you think? Yeah, and then we have like supporters just scrolling through very subtly, just on a loop, as it were. Do you know, I think I retweeted something the other day. I forgot who tweeted it originally, but he was a designer as well. And somebody apparently contacted him about YouTube or Twitch icons, and he was quoting him. So it sounded like his budget was $50 per icon or per overlay, and the designer said that's not going to cut it, man. That's going to take way too much time. So 50 isn't a budget. Turns out the guy, in his infinite wisdom, was thinking, no, I didn't mean to pay you. I was thinking you do the art and pay me $50 because I'm the awesome streamer and all, and so that your art gets shown on my channel. And he was thinking, oh, ouch. The ideas some people have. I thought that was just hilarious. The whole mindset of where are you coming from? Do you think this designs itself? Or, do you know what the tools cost to do this? Unbelievable. Anyway, so I'll go start with a little text object here. I could probably do this in 2D better, but hey, the show's called 3D Shenanigans, so let's do this in 3D. I'll call it supporters. I can probably just leave it flat as it is as well. I don't have to, I mean, I probably just do this, I guess. And then I will change it into my favorite font. Under font, which I keep in my downloads folder, which is really not a good idea. Hello Windows, how you doing? Not responding is never a good idea. Oh, look at that. Comes with previews, that's exciting. Days one font, there we go. Use that. Did I spell that correctly? Supporters, almost. There. Could also do this because that's hip at the moment. But I think I won't because I'm just not hip enough, you know. Hey, that's a service, Brian. Let's do that. On-demand viewing, pay-per-view, reborn. Geometry, let's extrude, my friend. I mean, this is going to be even smaller. It's going to be, we're talking 188 by 120, I think, 188 by 120. So it's literally nothing. So we're probably not going to see the bevel, but still, I like to put a little bevel on there. I'm not entirely sure what material I'll use. I might just stick with white because the rest of the text is white. So I might just do that. Whiteness, and the base color, we'll just go and make that white. Yeah, unless it looks pants, in which case I'll turn it back into gray. So the dimensions I said earlier under board, so the stream, there we go, that's the board. Ha! Animations bottom right, implemented. Is this exciting or what? We can totally put that on the list of things we've done today. That's very cool. I love it. Animations bottom right. And then also think of how to make money with these animations. Contact Dreamlab for ideas. There we go, perfect. Whatever comes of it, I would love it if we could turn this into cash somehow. This would be fantastic. Streamations. Is that domain still available? Streamations.com? Stream Animations? Streamanimations.tv. Something like, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. I was going to check the dimensions. That's why I even went in here. 188 by 120, that was it. So let's put that in here, 188 by 120. And then we'll see what our camera says. Yeah, so I'm thinking something that just goes and scrolls through here like that. That's the idea. Starts maybe out here. Don't think we need rotation here. I will keyframe it either way. And then of course, oh yeah, how long do we think that animation needs to be? I'll leave it at the default 250, just to see if that's feasible. If not, then we'll go and do something else like. Oh yeah, I could have probably done this by just using the X location without doing anything. I haven't done the light yet, so I'll do that in a moment. I'll move the text further over because I perhaps like to have just a tiny bit of a break in there. Man, did I just do that? Unfreaking believable. That was supposed to be on frame 250. Duh. And on frame 1, it was supposed to be here. I should really fix the light, shouldn't I? It may even be too long. I think we might be okay with 150 frames actually. And without that break, let me fix the light first before we go back to this. Let me go fix the light so we get a bit of a better. Since the camera is moving, I might turn this actually into a different type of light. It's a point light, so I'll make that an area light. That's just a strip light. I think so. In the X, is that what makes this? Oh, it does this, does it? No. Right. Well, yeah. Well, we'll something like that. I don't think it's going to be that important. As long as we can kind of read the text scrolling through. Oh, right. Thank you. I like it. This is already the rendered preview, so we can try something a little bit less, or a little bit, no, actually. So let's try 150 frames. And then also with the camera's keyframe, that needs to go on frame 150 so that we can see something like that. And then this keyframe, oh yeah, I had both selected, duh. So let's put that guy on frame 1. What do you think? Is that going to be something, I'm just looking at the smaller version there. Is that something that looks good or not? Will people understand it's about the supporters there? I'm thinking on second thought it might actually be a bit fast. I'd like to move the second keyframe to frame 200 and make the gap in between shorter. So like the gap that's happening here, make that shorter. Indeed, Streamlab, I totally agree. So if we do both of these things, if we make the animation 200 frames in total, move the last frame over to frame 200, and then also on the last keyframe, if we'll go and just get rid of that space there so that people see, was it the X location? It was, wasn't it? Yeah, okay, cool, perfect. We could do this and then keyframe that. So then we just go and have it slightly slower. And the other thing that we should do is turn the interpolation type to linear on both of these. So then we don't have that acceleration at the front and at the back. And we have more like a slow scroll that in your mind just turns the big word supporters at the top there. Could also be that it's a bit too, that the letters are too big. I could make it so that the whole thing is a bit smaller so that we see more of the letters in the frame. Let's render it out like this, and then we'll see if it's something we like or not. Like we put it into OBS, and then we just all have a look at it, and then if we find there's something not quite right with it, let's work with it. So frame rate, first of all, 60 frames, because I dig that. Output, I put everything on my desktop, so I can not find anything anymore. That's a good idea, isn't it? We'll call that supporters animation. In here, I'll save the file in a moment. Let's call that animation. Supporters v1. Supporters v1. There we go. Also in here, that was the idea. And PNG with alpha. And before we do any such rendering, we go and put that in here. Supporters 1. Boom. Yes, that's an idea. Yeah, we could, I mean, we could literally go to town with this animation. We could have that, and then we could have from nowhere, the word supporters could just come out, and we could fly through the O. That's an idea, that the word just comes out, and then it scrolls and comes out. That's a great idea, actually. I like that. I like that. Since we're moving the camera only, it'll be really easy to make that happen as well. Oh, that's a great idea. That is a very good idea. That could go onto our stream animations project as well. $1,000, lifetime access. Lifetime is 6 months, so then we can do a runner with the $70 million we're going to make. We can go put our feet up in the Bahamas. It's only a stone's throw away from here. Oh man. 200 frames, and we've saved all that. Let's go render animation. Oh, I forgot to switch on transparency. I always forget where that is. Under here, film, transparent. There. Okay, render animation. Here we go. That really doesn't take a lot of time, does it? Do you know, you're right, it's Pimp My Stream. Oh my God, Brian, what a great idea. Is that uh is that domain available? 50K a month, that's not a bad, it's a good income. So we'll go back to our friend the Premiere because we don't need Photoshop anymore. I didn't even need that. And perhaps we'll do everything in here in this project. So we're going to call this one FBI stills. And I'll make another, actually an assembly. That's just much easier workspace here. I'll go and make a new bin and I'll call this supporters stills. In fact, now that I know that Premiere can import image sequences, which makes me super happy. I don't even need to do that. Because usually I had a whole folder, a whole bin full of stills, and that's also no longer necessary. So I can just go and do a new sequence from clip, supporters v1. Yeah, that is fairly fast, isn't it? But then if it would be accompanied with the second animation we were thinking of, which is going to be even more exciting, it'll make more sense. Pimp My Stream Zone. How about pimpmystream.tv or any variations of the .com thing? Pimp Your Stream is also another idea. Pimpmystream.pro. I wonder how long it's going to be like that. I mean, how long in regards to, if you think back in time, like 10 years ago, people didn't have on their radar that you could make money with YouTube. Why would you do that? That's not possible. Full stop. End of story. And then 5 years ago, people started realizing that that was actually a possibility. And look at him go. Very cool. And nowadays, kids in school say, I want to be a full-time streamer when I grow up, or this is going to be my career. That's kind of crazy. I need to .expert. Oh, that is good. Pimp My Stream .expert. That is a great idea, Gorma. Thank you so much. This is the supporters group here. The supporters headline, I believe, is this. Yes, perfect. So we're going to go switch that off. In here, we're going to go and add another media source. Supporters headline, I'll call it. Oh, supporters headline is, oh yeah, that's already headline animated. Loop it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do that. Do that. No, do that. And then we do supporters v1. And we do that. Whoa, that's ever so slightly bigger than I thought. Have I rendered this at the correct dimensions? 188 by 120. That's weird. Transform, reset, transform. This is the really? Oh, do you know why? It's because Premiere is probably not. Let's go and switch that off again. Premiere has not picked the right codec there, I bet. I didn't even think of that. I just thought, hey, this is all awesome. Yeah, Adobe HD with audio. That's not exactly what we wanted. We wanted to use this one here with alpha. That's the one, isn't it? Yeah, perfect. And then this is going to be, yeah, okay. Excuse us for that little confusion here. Let's go and pick another version of the file, namely this one here. I'll go and rename those at a later date. There we go. That's it. That can now go here. So then, if we go back into something sensible, it does actually work. And now that's an idea with the hyphens, Christina. That's a good idea. I like that. If we just intercut, I think slower, still slower than this, and also intercut that with something like you suggested, Dreamlab, that comes out from nowhere and just goes, and we zoom into it and we just fly through the O. I think I like both these versions. That'd be seriously cool. We can actually, I think, if I just go and put that, can I put that here into this group here, supporters headline animated? That's perfect. I think speed, I think I can just make that slower. If I make that 50%. Yes, 50% is almost too slow, I'm thinking. $75 is probably better. If we just make it 300 frames instead of 200 on the animation, I think that's going to do the trick. So put this keyframe to here, and we're going to go and make the end 300. And then we're going to do the whole thing again. In fact, we'll leave everything as it is and just go supporters. Hello, where are you? Supporters animation, here we go. I'll go and drop all these in the bin. Let's do the rendering thing again. Aha. Oh, it used to be .oz? .oz? I didn't know that. My God, absolutely. I mean, especially in regards to animation, Streamlab, it's just so cool to have something that's there right now. This is why I'm so hooked on the Unreal Engine, because the whole rendering thing is no longer even, it's not even a consideration anymore. You just go, yeah, so everything happens in real time all the time. That's quite refreshing. Look at that, we're done already, and it's also the file size here, of course. That's very fast to render such small files. So supporters v1, we don't need that anymore. That's fine. And this also, boom, and then we go and say import. Nice. So let's pick that. And I'll just call that one V2 because that makes more sense. And export. Boom! Oh my god, that was fast, wasn't it? Good stuff. Let's put that in here right away. And we'll go and put that back to 100%. And of course put the right file in, which is now version 2. Boom. It's looping, it's looping. So that's a bit slower now. It almost feels too fast still. I think I'm going to leave it right now because I like to see what the whole thing is if we go and tweak it together with the supporters that comes out like the whoosh. Well, I say I'll call this camera just camera left right so that we can distinguish it from the one that we're setting up now, which is a second camera altogether, namely Shift A camera. And this one's camera, let's call it zoom. And with that selected, I always forget where that is. Is that in view? Yes, cameras, set active object as camera. Haha, perfect. And we'll go and frame up the text some. Light should stay the same. On the text, I'm just lining up the O there. And I think maybe I'll make this, shall I make this a bit longer? I'll make that 400. Yeah, I think 400 is probably, or maybe I'll leave it at 300. Dude, make up your mind, man. So with the zoom camera selected, I'm going to find myself something like, yeah, I don't know how this is gonna, how the speed's gonna get affected by that. So we may have to play around with the first keyframe a bit. So I'll set that up. Rotation we probably don't need. I'll just keyframe it anyway. Then about halfway through, I'd like to fly through the O. And the end bit, I'd like to fly basically through the word. So that's not bad. We just need to work on the timing there. So I think we want for this to be a bit faster up until here and then a bit slower from here, so that it's more like a crash zoom up until here, and then we slow down as we see the word supporters in larger letters there. Indeed, yeah, just absolutely. I think so too. Like literally up until here, I think we want for all that to happen a bit faster, I guess. Yeah, what's the best way to do that? Yeah, perhaps just go add a keyframe here. No, actually we want to have all that up until here done at that point already, don't we? So we want to go and probably set a keyframe maybe here, halfway through, let's say 160. That's too much setup, Gorma. That's a great idea, but it's too much setup because every time I get a new support, I'd have to edit and re-render and reset up that sequence. I don't think that's feasible. So just thinking ahead, I'm going to go. So it is about half. Yeah, about half. Let's go. Let's do this. Yeah, maybe like in Star Wars, you know, like this. That's an idea. We can do that. So this we really want to have reached. What is that now? That is Y, isn't it? So Y. Oh yeah, not actually like that. We just do this. We're going to have that to about here at that point. And then we do that. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, so that still needs to be faster. And then that still needs to be slower. Nope. Just this keyframe to about here. So we go, and all that needs to be a little bit slow. Maybe actually it might be the night. Yeah, even faster than this to about maybe here. And that whole thing even slower. You're having way too much pizza, Rod. Every day we do the streaming. So I'm gonna have to go get pizza. Do you have? Is there a night where you don't have pizza? Like home cooked meal, you know, steak and potatoes, that sort of thing. I like this whole crash zoom thing. I'm just thinking that up until here, we don't want to be quite that close just yet. So just maybe to about here. So if we do that, we give the whole word more time to develop, but not enough, I'm afraid. It's, I don't know. What do you think? I'm considering that what were to happen if we were to not see the outsides as well. That's the thing. So that might be an idea. We put a second keyframe so that we savor this moment longer, and then we go shoot out. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I knew there was something missing. Sometimes it's not easy to see when you're seeing it much larger than it needs to be. I say let's do that. Let's keep the same sequence here. So maybe 40 frames before the end, or let's do 240. Let's do another keyframe here. And up from this is a nice start, and we just want to be at this keyframe. We just want to be here, maybe. a kind of full screen, and then we go there like that. Let's see. Yeah, almost. Almost. So we just need to play around with the So there's two things happening there. The one is the wiggle. I don't like the wiggle. And the other one is that we don't have that as a linear motion. So when it's that small, the wiggle might not matter, but I think if this interpolation time were linear and this one were 2, that might work better. So at least then there's movement in there. No, that wasn't it. I think this just needs to develop a bit faster. So if we go and put that to, oh no, don't do that. Put that to maybe here. And then depart, so like even quicker, and then that can happen even faster here maybe. I killed Elvis! How you doing? Good to see you. Do you know what, Dreamlab? I think I can probably do that with the dope sheet thing, with the graph editor, but like here, like that, right? Not that I know how. Maybe I just go and touch him and do stuff. Oh yeah, that's probably how I do it. Yeah, like so. Is that what we're looking for? Whoa, that's exciting. What did I do there? Oh my god, I moved this thing around now. You're giving me ideas. This is crazy stuff. Oh, right, right. So let's go and put that back to the regular timeline because I'm super scared of that other tool there. Oh my god, I've got other keyframes now. Ugh. I will delete all of them and just start literally fresh here. Yeah, you too. There. So we have one here and the next one is here already. And I think maybe that's, yeah, we leave it wherever and just go and put that back to 40. I think that worked quite well to have a keyframe here at 40. And maybe just have another one here then at 200. And then we let the rest be sorted out like that. I think perhaps that's a cool idea. So on here, I say we want to be in on the Y further already, like that. It doesn't matter that it's not in the center, I don't think. So from here to there, that's sorted. From there to there, that'll be the crash zoom, and we just want to be very precise, more in on the word already, don't we? Oh yes, that's what that does. So let's go and just do that with this. So we have that. Oh yeah, then there's the wiggle. Oh, why is there the wiggle? That's uncool. We don't want to do that. Let's go get rid of that then. Delete that and go put another one here and just go and do that without the wiggle. because that's really not working for me, that wiggle thing. There's the wiggle again. Stop wiggling. That's terrible. I will duplicate this guy here and just put him to where it was, about 200 maybe. Just doing that here. So then we have a very subtle animation. I think I like that. He's almost at a standstill there, but that's not bad. I can always move this one here. Just move that to about here. Now we savor this moment a little bit more. I don't like the standstill there in the middle, but yeah, I can kind of live with that, because then at least we can read the word supporters there with the subtle movement. I know, wiggly words. I don't like the wiggly words. I think I can live with this though. I think I can see it, because the thing is now it's almost like the version we had before, where we see the word supporters long enough to read it. Even if it's only very tiny, it does other things that allow us to say, hey, that's cool. That's where the supporter credits go. So I think I can live with this. And it's only 240 frames, so that's nice. I wonder if we do need that gap at the end before the scroll happens. So I think I'm going to leave it in there as part of it, so without you know what I mean, so that we don't cut off like here and then immediately put something else in. I think we need that bit of a break, because we perceive the thing to be far behind us now. We go for the UK. That's crazy. Let's render this out and see what this will be, what this looks like when we put it in place with the other one. So into, like, you know, that's the one that we have right now, and then this one, and so forth. It'll be like an endless loop. Let's see what happens. So different aspect ratio. Perhaps we deserve a different folder for that, and we're calling this animation 2. That's descriptive, isn't it? Supporters, and I'm going to call that even supporters v3, so that I won't be able to remember anything later. Let's go render the animation. It's almost a shame that we probably won't be able to do the other bits, the dancing FBI agent. So it was a bit of a misleading title there. I shall amend that after the stream. Unsorted, my goodness, or stuff. My favorite is always stuff. But I mean, at the same time, I'm hoping to remind myself that that wasn't as important going forward, that's kind of just a temp folder. But then I forget, you know, and then I'm thinking, hey, where was that mega important thing that I promised myself I was gonna archive? And then of course I never did. So supporters. I wish we could tell these things apart. There's supporters, and then there's supporters 2, I suppose. Supporter stills. Import image sequence, indeed. Oh, that is such a good feature in Premiere that I had no idea it would do that. That we're gonna call, yeah, supporters v3 is probably a gooder name as any. Yeah, it looks all fuzzy, but that's okay. Oh, does this contain alpha now? It does, doesn't it? Because this one also just looked black. Yeah, okay, well, it probably does. It does do alpha. And we want to use this. Supporters v3 sounds good. And export. With alpha, right? Yes, with alpha. No audio necessary. Thanks. Thanks for the offer. Not necessary. I killed Elvis. It's a slightly crazy story. So my father was Dutch and my mom was from Germany, and I grew up in Germany. So I'm used to hearing Dutch, and I could at least understand it when I was a kid, but I could never speak it. So with my father's family, they lived in Germany as well. So they were all Dutch. So they lived in Germany, and they all spoke Dutch with one another, and I could understand them, and they could understand me speaking German. So that's how that worked. We only spoke German at home. So grew up in Germany to a Dutch father and a German mother, then emigrated to the UK in 1999, lived there until 2012 in London, and since then living in the US. Crazy story. There we go. Actually, I forgot something. We need to also bolt this together with the other supporters thing. Actually, let's do that in a moment. Let's go and just see what this supporters headline looks like with the version 3 in there now. Like that. And we go boom. Supporters. I like the fly through. It's a complicated story. I like the fly through. If you imagine that with the other thing. I now wonder, do we need that gap? I'm already annoyed by the gap, so let's get rid of the gap in Premiere. Let's get rid of the gap. So I suppose that we can just go and repurpose that and go put this guy onto here. This onto there. So that's cool, that's cool. And then we just go and end this whole thing here. There. I don't think we need a fade in here. I was briefly considering that, but I think because we come out of the black so small, I don't think we need to have a fade in for this jump. We could make that happen. Let's make that happen. It's probably no one's ever going to notice this except for me, but now we do this. Who is ever going to see that? Well, me. I will like it so much better. Which is what it's all about. 3.1 is just fine. No audio, and the thing that's cool too. There, boom. Yes, you have a very colorful background, Steve. Make that 3.1. And T-Bank, you are from the Netherlands, right? Did I understand that correctly? So first we have the supporters, then we have supporters, and then we go, that's nice. So there's just some subtle animation in there. It is almost like I want to, on this word, on the supporters, part of me wants to put a line at the top and at the bottom, just like a small plane, so that it's not just there, just lurking about, that there's just two lines on the top and at the bottom. I think that might just make the whole thing, otherwise I've got all that naked space at the top and at the bottom before something develops. Indeed, that's exactly what I'm thinking, Dreamlab. That's exactly right. Oh, so I Killed Elvis was from the Netherlands, but not T-Bank? I'm confused. Oh, T-Bank. What a shame. Right, yes, I got you guys mixed up. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I Killed Elvis, Netherlands. T-Bank, we don't know. Okay, good. Glad we cleared that up. What do you think about the idea of putting something more at the top and at the bottom there so that there's... Let me show you what I mean. Perhaps it's easier if I show you what I mean. I mean, I could probably do this in Premiere, but since we've built this thing in since we've built this thing in Blender, it might be easier for me to explain what I mean there. So the good thing is with all this, we're just manipulating the camera, so we can go and do whatever with, there we go, that's what I was looking for. We can do whatever with the thing here. So I'm thinking just like probably just a cube. And SZ to make that kind of flat-ish, like so. GZ to put that underneath, like so. And then we go and SY to make it kind of as thin as the letters are. And then we just go SX to make it as long as the word is, ish. GX to put that here, and then probably SX to make that just like, you know. To do that, and then we just go Shift D, GZ up to here, actually like so. And then if we were to go back to our camera, we would go see something like this without the overlays. I can even maybe just put them slightly further above the word. Indeed, Dreamlab, because imagine you're paying somebody by the hour to do this, even with skills. You're paying what's the hourly rate of a visual effects artist? I think this is what these people are called. So yeah, let me go and move those up a little bit. So GZ to about here. Yes, that's probably even nicer. Maybe, I don't know. And I just love using things like Blender for these quick little things. I mean, on one hand, they're a really nice exercise, but at the same time, you just put all the knowledge that you already have to good use. I really like that. Well, I think that's going to look nicer than the current version because there's just more going on. All right. Let's go and just make another folder. Be generous with the folders. I will call it animation 3, so that really nothing is in supporters. We'll call that supporters v4. Man, this is, no one's gonna be able to remember anything, but that's gonna be cool because once this is done, it's done, and then render animation. Woo! Oh, do you know what? That'd be so cool. Imagine the royalties, Rod. That would be very cool. And while this is rendering, I'm just going to grab another coffee. It'll only be like 2 seconds. Hang on. coffee. There we go, done. Excellent. So, Premiere, supporter stills, go on and import my latest thing here, which is an image sequence. Well done, well remembered. And then I can just go and delete this. There's even easier ways to deal with this by replacing a file. I'll just go and put that here. Yes, I know that Premiere. That's cool. And then we have that, and then we go stop it here. Maybe exactly 9 seconds. There. And then for the final reveal, that's all that, that's all that. Yes, export. Boom. Okay. Now for the final reveal. Oh man, I left it zoomed in. I'm so sorry about that, guys. What a shame. I'm so sorry about that. Sometimes I do that. Do remind me if it happens and if it's annoying. And if you're following something and you say, hey, I can't actually see what you're doing, then just let me know and I'll go and get rid of it instantly, of the zoom in thing. So let's have a look at our handiwork here. So while it doesn't make much of a difference, I think it's nice to have these things to just have a little bit more at the top and the bottom there. Or is it distracting? I can't tell. I'm digging it. I do still have the other version, so that is also available. I might just make these assets, these super low resolution animations, available to my Patreon supporters. So anyone who's on Patreon, any tier will be able to access that. Give me a few hours and I'll put it up there. So all these things that we've rendered, the little dancing FBI agent animation and the supporter credits animation there, I might actually give you both versions, with the strips and without the strips. I'm thinking that as well. It just goes, this is additional something there. It's almost like you could go to town. I could even duplicate the strips and just make more of them. That just, I like it. I think this is nice. I've been meaning to do this for ages, and I'm glad we spent the whole stream on doing that. Yes, even though we didn't get to do all the other little dance animations, but I suppose this guy and the ideas that came out of this is unbelievable. This is already very, very cool. It almost wants me to make more of these little dancing figures for streams. That's a very, very cool idea. Thank you for all the input there. And subtlety really is the word there. I think I'm gonna go call it a day. We're gonna continue this journey tomorrow. I'll show you one last time. I'll show you this little dancing animation guy, because it's just so funny. This is the larger version of him. I think I'm gonna go and this is what we're going to do tomorrow with more of these characters. That'll be like 15 or so. I'm thinking of having 5 of them outside the bank, 5 of them inside the bank, and 5 of them in the vault. And then the camera can do like a crash zoom through all these things, through all these stages there. It'll be really nice. It'll be really nice. It'll be fun as well. Holy Gremlin, thank you so much for following. I very much appreciate that. A dance party, that's exactly right. Yes, a dancing FBI agent and friends. That's what it's going to be called. He is just so exciting. Well, thank you so much for dropping by and hanging out with me. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Fake 5 o'clock, real time 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll call it fake summertime now, because this is just what it is. It's like fake time. That's exactly it. Also, note to self: put the light down. Which one is it? This one. That's the light, isn't it? That's the one that's too strong. Yeah, that's the one. My goodness. Bzzzt. Anyway, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.